Never seen a lame man walk, never heard a dumb man talk, never seen a blind man see. I promise you will change his name. Never seen a cancer dead, never seen all the poor get fed, never seen a prisoner set free. I promise you will change his name. And find a home. Never seen a weak find the strength. I promise you will change his name.
Hey, everybody! It is time. It is time once again for the Big C and Bigger T podcast. I'm your boy, Bigger T, joined always as my fresh. Those of y'all listening to this, Clinton just put some of his wife's lotion on right as we started there.
And it smells delightful. It really
does. You feel moisturized?
I feel moisturized. My elbow, it says 24-hour moisture body lotion, 1 in a million. I've got some ashy elbows, people. So, I mean, I've moistened this bad boy up. Let's see. It's shiny now.
Bath and Body Works is all they say they are. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a shot. Maybe I start moisturizing. I need to get in a regular skincare routine, Travis.
You do.
Yeah, I mean, I really do.
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry, I don't even. That is the first and last time we ever talked skincare routine.
That's
on
right.
The Big C, Bigger T podcast.
That's right. Unless a player gets burnt in the middle of a game and we start talking about it. Hey, it's Christmas time.
It is.
That season's upon us. You just got back from Branson. How were the lights up there?
I didn't wander out. I mean, it literally, because we went for the company Christmas party. Chateau on the Lake is where we had it. It was beautiful. They was decorated. They had some great decorations in there, but I didn't really get out much because I freaking hate traffic, and Branson's a parking lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, no, I ain't doing it. And you know me pretty well. You know I have zero patience.
Zero, yeah.
I mean, none. Like, I want stuff done yesterday, top done. So I didn't get out there, and I'm sorry to ruin, but I did start helping Tom Clark with his Christmas lights.
Oh, good.
He is he keeps griping that he's going to retire
from doing Christmas lights.
And I remember when the man just literally he would have the big bulb lights. He liked the big bulb lights better and he would just do a Christmas tree on the side of the house. And somehow it's morphed into this where he just does a gigantic Christmas light display every year, and it is bonkers. And I'll get my mom to do a video of it after he's done, and I'll post it on her Facebook page and on Instagram. But it is insane. And like, there's people that hire that out to have companies do that. This is one old man, one retiree with a fake knee out there doing that.
He's not going to get a Jelly of the Month Club certificate at the end of the deal, is he?
No, he's not. And it just warms his heart. They love it. Like, it tickles him when somebody slows down to drive past their house.
Yeah.
Because if you go out there, you're going out there for a reason, and then you just happen upon that, like, wow.
Yeah.
So tickles him pink, and he just does it to like bring joy to people. So I had to help him with that. So that's I'm sorry about that diatribe. I'm bragging on my dad, which I don't do often.
Do you decorate your house at all?
I do. I do. Dude, listen, me and you, we've talked about this before. I got myself in trouble, but I'm talking good about him, so I can do this now. It's talking about how cheap my dad is. And the only person cheaper than him is Paul. And they give each other pointers on how to be cheap.
Yeah.
And so I'm over at his house because I'm like, I was going to run lights down my fence, and we had this conversation, like, too much. But I go over there, and the man's got like just totes, just full totes of Christmas lights that he's bought for like pennies on the dollar.
after Christmas sales.
After just like they give like he goes, so I got these real nice icicle lights.
Yeah.
And I pulled them out of the tin, the plastic tote. And I'm not kidding when I said it was marked for $50. The set of lights had the price tag of $50 on them. Dad's like, I think I paid 20 for that tote. Like,
yard sale or something. Yeah.
And he's not even using them. Like I took them and
Yeah.
just like it looks like to have the Christmas light display that I have would probably cost you $200-300.
Nice.
I just went over and got in Dad's shed.
There you go. Dad's shed's magical place.
So I guess I don't know if I'm the cheap one. Am I the cheap one in this case?
Maybe so. Yeah.
Maybe. So.
Or you're you're just taking an opportunity.
Right. Because they want to get used. I'm bringing joy to twos of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Twos of them.
Twos of them. I mean, we do dozens here, but twos. I'm in the single digits at the house.
That's right. Since you're not in the neighborhood anymore.
By the way, Mom said, she goes, I listened to your podcast with Dave Jorn.
Yeah.
She goes, that's the best one y'all have ever done.
Really?
I go, Mom, when's the last time you listened to her podcast? She goes, I don't know, Oliver Miller.
She just said
probably the original Oliver Miller.
She just said that because he was a Cardinals guy.
Yeah, probably. Woman cried tears of joy when we got her an Yadier Molina autographed jersey. Like she's never been that proud of me as she was that jersey. I'll put it like that.
Well, that was a good podcast. We had a lot of fun doing that one. So
definitely we did.
If you haven't listened to that one yet, go back and check it out. It's a good one.
And educational too. If you got a young kid that's looking at baseball, and I want to mention his website again because I know that was very important to him. He felt the need to plug it, but davejorn.com.
Yeah. You
can see him for speaking engagements and all kinds of things. He'd love to come to your church and speak to your group. So
that's right. Well, Clint, I guess, our holy shnikes is transfer portal craziness, man.
It is crazy. And you know what? I was thinking to myself, and it's my fault for thinking it, Travis, the portal's going to happen. The portal is going to do what the portal does.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, it's going on everywhere. But I was thinking to myself, like, okay, we haven't lost a starter. There hasn't been that holy crap. There hasn't been that Mike Woods, and then we get a new Mike Woods.
Yeah, our latest, one of the latest is Keytron Jackson. That was a surprise. The rest of them wasn't necessarily shockers.
No,
Warren Thompson, I think, was a little bit, but it didn't sound like he was to the people in the know.
Yeah, and Slusher, I think, is a little bit of a surprise.
Slusher was a little bit of a surprise there. But Keytron Jackson it seemed like they were trying to get him the ball more and more toward the end of the season. And he just, for some reason, decided it was his time was up here. And he's transferring out. I don't know if he's got somewhere already on his list of where he's going or what. But that one's I think that one's gonna hurt because he's a guy that you put 2 years in to train in this system. And
there are people that thought he was the second best receiver on campus last year.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that thought it was Treylon Burks and Keytron Jackson.
Mm.
And that, but the rest of them, and I will get back to why I think he's making a mistake transferring in a bit, but the rest of them, it just doesn't, you see them going. Like James Joyner, you can look at the depth chart and go, okay, I'm not going to play this year. Probably not going to play next year.
Yeah.
And then even at that, Dubian's in front of me. Devine, however you say it, I always butcher his name. We can't have him on the podcast because it'd just be like an hour of me just butchering his name.
Yeah.
But
Ubinion. Yeah,
Binion. Okay. So, but he's going to be, he's the next in line. So even if, Rocket left and AJ Green left,
they got a freshman that's coming in. They're really high on.
mm-hmm. So, you see the depth chart, and that happens, but, somebody commented at Otis Kurt today. He posted an article on hogwheel.net that was like, it's about Keytron. And then some guys, he put, what's going on? And he had put a little bit more emphasis on it than that, but we're a G-rated podcast. But and Otis like, what do you mean this is going on everywhere?
Oh yeah,
everywhere. You might have the number one recruiting class in the country just in the portal from Alabama and A&M.
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously, if you recruited that class out of high school, it's probably the number one recruiting class in the country.
Yeah.
That's the talent, and it's gonna go on everywhere.
And the good thing is a couple of those A&M guys I think are possibilities for Arkansas.
Yeah, we've already landed that big lineman out of Florida.
Mm-hmm. And he was I was listening to Trey Biddy's he does a podcast on for Hog Sports on
right.
Mondays and Thursdays usually or whatever. And I was listening to that earlier, and Danny West was on there talking, and he said that kid he was recruited by Pittman. He had committed to Georgia and was recruited by Pittman there. And when Pittman was recruiting him, Pittman told him, said, if I ever, only reason I would leave Georgia is for the Arkansas head coaching job. And that kid is now for some reason, he played early and then didn't play later.
Right.
But he's a mature kid. He's married already. He's 6'6", 345, played guard mostly. So if, they're talking about with Stromberg going pro, Lemur may be going to center. And so that would move. He might be your answer in one of the guard positions.
Right. And the offensive line is going to have at least two new starters. And from and if you've talked to him about anything, then I'm not worried about it. I'm saying what I've heard is Luke Jones is leaning towards not returning.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything from him.
No, and any private conversation I had should stay that way. But I've heard that he's leaning towards not returning, and who knows, that may be inaccurate. But so that puts you replacing three starters on the offensive line. Dalton Wagner was first team All SEC. I saw in at least one. I mean him. So you're replacing two All SEC players.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the biggest news to come out today, and this is Tuesday when we're doing this, is Barry Odom is gone.
The UNLV.
He's a running Reb going to UNLV.
Well, yeah, he had a good flirtation with Tulsa.
Yeah.
I would say, they had exchanged phone numbers and pleasantries, and apparently just something broke down in the negotiation phase.
Yeah, from what I heard, they paid their last coach $1.8 million, and that's what he's making at Arkansas.
Yeah.
So I think there was probably money issues was part of it.
Well, yeah, and that's and I don't know what he's going to make at UNLV, but it stinks to lose him, but that's the nature of the business. No one,
to be honest with you,
go ahead.
To be honest with you, we've kind of talked about it. There's some chronic issues that we need to see answered for this defense.
Yeah.
And So I'm sort of excited about seeing some new blood. I have no idea who they're going to get. My first phone call, if I was Sam Pittman, but my knowledge is very limited. But my first
I've got two in my top of my head. I'm gonna see who you mentioned.
Gary Patterson would be my first phone call.
I didn't even think about him, but that'd be a good one.
I would call down to and try to get him away from Texas as quick as I could. Now, not that he would leave there, not that he would leave Texas, you know. And
He's just an analyst right now, isn't he?
maybe so, but
Yeah.
I bet they try to do everything they can to keep him around.
Yeah.
But he would fulfill some of the same things that Odom did for Pittman. He's a former head coach with lots of experience that Pittman could lean on a lot in making decisions and being a good head coach. And he's just a proven to do what he did with his defenses at TCU with undersized guys like he had to deal with, 2 and 3 stars, and to play to the level they did. I'll take him in a heartbeat.
Who else do you have in mind?
Well, I don't even know their name, but I just kind of breezed through the list of top defenses in the country, and one of the tops is Illinois. So I
saw that guy's name on the list. Now
I'd take a hard look at him, and I'd take a hard look at the defensive coordinator at Minnesota too, because they're both ranked pretty high.
I know a lot of fans are gonna be like, "What's Charlie Strong doing now?" Mm-hmm. And he would be, someone to take a look at.
I think I have a feeling of who you're going to say.
Who you think I'm going to say, and I'll tell you.
Football.
No, I wouldn't think Coach O. Well, Coach O's never called defense before. He was a defensive line coach. I don't think. Which apparently he was in the running for the UNLV gig.
Mm.
But no, I really think Derek Mason would be someone that could check a lot of boxes too.
Yep.
I think, head coach at Vanderbilt, his defense
at
Auburn.
Him in the NFL?
Huh?
You remember him in the NFL?
I do not.
Yeah, man, he was a heck of a receiver.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
I think he'd be a solid.
That's a great one. I hadn't thought of him.
Yeah. But, Pittman's got a Rolodex better than ours. So, I'm sure he's going to come up with somebody good.
I think Pittman really needs I love Pittman, okay? But he needs that guy that's got head coaching experience.
He does.
That he can bounce ideas off of.
Yeah.
Kind of like I forget the guy's name, but Phil Jackson had that old guy with him all those years. Coaching when he was coaching for the Bulls, he had an old guy that was like a former head coach on the bench that followed him around and was kind of his like grounding. And I think Pittman needs that. He talks a lot about his walks with Odom, going out walking and exercising with him and stuff like that. And so I think he needs to find somebody, whether he gets them that way or brings somebody in as an analyst, that he can.
Yeah. So
I think that's where Coach O went wrong. Was Coach O had good coordinators at OSU at first. He had what's the defensive coordinator that went to Baylor?
David Aranda.
And then he had Brady.
Yeah.
That ended up going. And when they left, he replaced them with young guys. And they didn't put the money into it and get the guys with experience they needed. And I think he needs to get somebody up there, whether that's through defensive coordinator. If he wants to get a young defensive coordinator that's energetic and up and coming, that's fine. But get someone on the staff, get one of these analysts in, someone that's just lost a job or something. Get somebody like that in to help you out. He needs something like that.
So we've pitched two great defensive coordinators hires, Mason and Patterson. Who do you think would get the fan base more excited?
Dude, I would get fired up about both of those guys.
Yeah.
I would really get. I think Patterson, just because longevity. You know, I mean, and he did more at TCU. You know, Mason was at Vanderbilt. It's hard to win at Vanderbilt. You know what I mean?
It is.
But I think I think both. But I'd be fired up for both, man. I loved Mason at Vanderbilt. I wish he would have been in another team where he could have got some talent in.
Yeah.
And see what he's done. And the thing is, man, this defense with Jordan Dominic coming back, that was a huge.
No, that was huge.
Not only because, and I sent Jordan a message after this, and I told him, I said, man, I think you're next. I think you're the next, like he's different than Bumper Pool because he hadn't been here as long, doesn't have the connections to the school, but he's got a year under his belt now. The media will love interviewing him. They already do because he's such an intelligent guy and he's well-spoken and he says the right things. He's going to be the voice of the team. And if he can do that same type of thing in the locker room, he can be a key part to what this defense is next year.
No, and and the people that we have coming back are are cornerstones you can build off of.
Oh,
I mean, Chris Paul is just he came freshman All-American today.
Yeah,
or second team freshman All-American.
Yeah, you got Landon Jackson and Jordan at your rush ends, right?
Yeah.
You got Ball in the middle. Plus, you got other guys that are,
No, and that defensive line was pretty deep. You got
now with Sanders going pro.
Yeah, that hurts.
You're needing another linebacker in there, but then you got, man, if Quincy McAdoo keeps going,
if Quincy McAdoo keeps developing the way he's developing, he will be going pro after his junior year and be a top 5 draft pick at cornerback.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
If he keeps growing like he's growing, and it's not, it's easy to take a step, but it's hard to take the next step and the next step. And so hopefully he does it. But I mean, he has shown that kind of potential his first year now, because he only got burnt pretty good one game. And just tell you how crazy the portal is. The guy that burned him from Missouri is in the portal.
Yeah.
Don't know his name, but it's like, I mean, it's just.
But every defensive back's going to get burned.
Oh, yeah, it happens. You got to have a short memory.
Joe Hayden was one of the best defensive backs, in the league for a long time, and he got burnt several times.
Yeah. But, another coach got hired over the weekend. I'm not sure. Did you watch Coach Prime's?
Mm-hmm. I watched him tour the video of him touring the facility, and then I'm talking to the team.
What did you think of him talking to the team?
It was good.
I loved it. But you could tell the one thing I think him and Sam Pittman have in common, and there's not a lot,
yeah.
But they both come across as genuine, and they have the young man's best interest at heart.
Yeah.
And you could tell, because I've been skeptical of Prime Deion Sanders as a head football coach. I really have been like, okay, you're over recruiting in the SWAC because you're Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Because if I'm a 5-star defensive cornerback, I'd love to go learn from Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
But you could tell in that speech, like, Deion Sanders takes being a mentor very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
And that when he said, I'm going back and finishing the job at Jackson State, I'm going to try to win a national championship.
Did you see Did you see his last meeting with when he told the Jackson State kids?
Yeah, I did.
Like they were excited for him.
Yeah.
And they were like thanking him for all he's done for him, like. So that's impressive. And I was just impressive with how upfront. There's a lot of lying goes on in coaching searches.
Right, yeah.
There's a lot of lying. And I don't feel like I felt like he was upfront and honest with his kids and with his people. And
and I loved him saying it wasn't about. It was like everybody always says it's not about the money. It's usually about the money, but when he says it's not about the money, I felt like he meant it.
Well, yeah,
he's like, I got money.
Yeah, yeah. He wants to prove. Did you see who he's bringing with him?
I have not. I know he's flipped some recruits already.
Well, no. One of the coaches is Willie Taggart.
Oh, okay. Well, and see, that's a good one to have on your staff.
Yeah.
I mean,
but what's cool is he's going to bring someone like Willie Taggart in, which is an experienced head coach, right? Yeah. But then he's also got guys that's been coaching with him since he was coaching Pee Wee football in the Dallas Metroplex area. I love that, man.
Yeah.
Like he's dedicated to those guys, and he's brought them with him to Jackson State and now taking them with him to Colorado. And he's also melding that with guys like a Willie Taggart who's been there, done that on the top level. And so I think that's going to make for a neat mix of coaches.
But you know what? In that being said, I have you bring that up, the uniqueness. And we as fans tend to overthink everything, every coaching move. We're going to lose some more coaches. Barry Odom will not be the last assistant turnover off the staff. Neither will Jamil Walker. It's going to happen. I think a lot of people feel like Michael Squire, how do you say his name? The linebacker coach. Yeah, he may be going with Barry as his defensive coordinator or something.
I hate that, but yeah.
I mean, a lot of people think that, and I don't think he's in a position where Sam Pittman can nominate him from linebacker coach to defensive coordinator.
No.
I think if you did that, I just don't think the hire would go over very well at all.
I think he's got to bring in some new blood.
Yeah, he's got to name some, and I hope they retain him as linebacker coach. I think he would be. I think he's a great coach, but you can't blame him if Barry Odom offers you the defensive coordinator job at UNLV not to take it.
Yeah, well, and he's dedicated to Barry Odom.
Yeah.
So no, and Trey Biddy also on his podcast said that they're close to announcing our new strength and conditioning coach, which is a guy from the strength and conditioning coach from Louisville.
But yeah, I think
apparently he's a guy that was also at Georgia with Jamil Walker down there. And so he's going to, I don't, the more I hear about why Walker was let go, the more we're realizing that it wasn't necessarily because of his performance. It was because of other things.
Okay.
And so that makes sense to bring someone in that's probably going to do things in a similar way that he did it.
Right. Yeah. And you can tell me what the other things were off the air because I'm curious now, but no, because that's good. I don't feel like my man crush is invalidated. It may be when you done what the other things were, but
yeah,
I know. I think they were definitely building the team the right way, and so I definitely see getting someone from that coaching tree and that has the similar mindset. I mean, just the product on the field from Chad Morris to Sam Pittman was just incredible. It just the difference.
Yep, for sure.
So now another big one that announced they were coming back was KJ Jefferson.
Oh, huge.
listen, in football, you either have the quarterback position figured out or you're trying to figure it out. And when you have the quarterback position figured out, your job is a lot more secure. And Arkansas has the quarterback position figured out with KJ Jefferson.
Yeah.
Now, that's why, when I was going to bring this up, I think, that puts you in more of a buyer's seat in the portal than a seller's seat in the portal. That's why that's why Keytron surprised me a little bit.
Yeah.
So, now there's some stud. I mean, you got Satanga there, like Speed Demon.
Mm.
You got to wonder, who else? They're going to be looking for receivers in the portal now.
Well, they have one that I think's pretty close to. I don't think he's not committed yet, but he's one that everybody thinks will from
Alabama.
No, from Texas.
Oh, okay.
Commerce or something. It's
okay, I know you don't. Yeah, he's like
FCS. 5, like a big kid that just blew up this year, and was looking around. But the biggest thing to me, Clint, that KJ, there's been lots of rumors about contention in the locker room. That whether it was from the Slusher incident or one of these other things, or there's some other stuff out there. There's been some rumors that I've heard that there was contention in the locker room, that people weren't getting along, that there was some separation. Okay. To me, the KJ coming back tells me that a lot of that was just rumors, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think if it was contentious in the locker room, I think KJ would either transfer out and try to get like find a school that really needed a quarterback and he could pad his stats for 1 year, or he would go to the NFL. But the fact that he's coming back here, I think tells us that things are a lot better than what those rumors were, that those were just rumors.
And even guys like Jordan Dominic coming back, who you can tell is just a solid stand-up guy, that says a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know but
now, of course, Clint, I'm extremely sad. We haven't talked about him yet.
Oh no.
But my heart was broken when our favorite special teamer announced that he was transferring out.
Yeah, I hate it.
The holder of the year.
You get it that I mean, you get why he did it. You understand. It still hurts. I mean, he's got 1 year left, and he wants to go somewhere where, he don't have to split the time. He's their punter. So I get it. But yeah, it broke her heart. It broke my heart a little bit. But Reed, we get it, and I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy wherever you are, and they're getting a great guy.
I told him, I said, man, good luck. I'm gonna root for you wherever you go. I said, unless you're playing the Hogs, and I hope you shank them all.
Yeah, I would be surprised if Reed went to a competitor. I really would.
Yeah,
but he might if it's the only school out there that offered him a scholarship. I'm sure he would think about it. Now, Travis, what do you think of her bowl destination?
It was about what I expected. Wasn't the team I expected us to play.
I was listening to the Buzz, and they had Dalton Wagner. They said they put down their top 3 bowls for Vegas, Texas, and Liberty. Now, I think we might have went to the Texas Bowl, but apparently Missouri didn't want to play the mighty Kansas Jayhawks.
That's the rumor.
That is the rumor. And Listen, I had a guy play with at Tech that his son was playing for Kansas. He's hit the portal. So I can now truly, totally root for the Hogs to dismantle Kansas.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. But yeah, if you're 6-6, you don't have the right to say, no, I'm not going to play this team. You shut
Yeah,
up and go play Kansas.
I think that's just a rumor because I don't see them having that power and that making a lot of sense. To me, that sells out that game for them. You know what I mean? Like that makes it even a bigger game. Just like, but of course I was hoping for Oklahoma for us.
Yeah. Well, Oklahoma's good. What, they're in the Texas Bowl?
Think so.
No, I can't remember.
I can't really.
So, but now, do you think they got the 4 playoff team right?
Yeah.
I do too. I really do. I know Alabama's probably sitting there going, "Oh, it should have been us."
Yeah, it couldn't have been.
Okay, but should have Alabama been 5 or should it have been Tennessee?
Look, it's hard. It's hard to forget that Tennessee doesn't have their best player.
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
It's hard to forget that when two teams are equal record wise. Yes, one of them beat the other. However, that wouldn't happen again if
Yeah.
So
now on the bowl games, because I was just curious for your thoughts about they got the 4 right. The problem is Alabama's going to the Sugar Bowl. Half their team's going to be out.
Yeah.
Arkansas right now we know is going to be without one of their starting linebackers, without their starting center, and because of the transfer portal, without 2 starting wideouts. So
got a right tackle.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I think Wagner's planning on playing. I think the only alignment not planning on playing was Strongberg.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if he's officially opted out for the bowl game, but he's already announced he's going pro. So usually Pittman says if you're doing that, then no, you're not.
Well, your agent will tell you to sit out.
Right. Yeah. So is there a point of playing bowl games anymore, Travis? Is there even a point? Now I'm going to go to the Liberty Bowl. I'm going to tailgate. It's my day off. It's a 2-hour drive. I'm going to go have me a day, take the family, go to the Liberty, go see beautiful Memphis, Tennessee. But I'm not going to see the Hogs play. I'm going to see some Hogs play.
Now, Clint, I'm about as old school as they come.
You are about as old school as they come.
I still wish they did the BCS. I think the more teams they've added to this playoff deal, that's what's killed the bowl games. I'm not going to say that's the only thing that's killed the bowl games. I think the mentality of a generation of people who grew up playing Madden on video games, video game football has killed the mentality has changed the mentality of football for people, I think, because it's all offense, no defense. It's just, you think about it. And if you don't go perfect record, look, on video games, you're not going perfect. You reset it and you start the game over again.
Right.
If you're starting to lose a game. So anyway, however, I'm not naive enough to say it's here. It's changed. It's different. It's a new world. We're in a new place now.
I think the best I saw it said, this isn't your granddaddy's college football.
It's not. It is different. College football has changed and is going to continue to change over the next 10 years. Okay. I think the bowl system is done. Now, it still makes money. It makes money because of TV, right? Wouldn't you say that's where their money comes from?
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, it's not necessarily from, the Liberty Bowl is going to make some from bowl tickets, right? Because Arkansas fans are going to show up so well. And it'll be.
Well, I think Kansas will too, because I think Kansas is going to be excited about coming to a bowl game. Kansas hasn't been to a bowl game in, I don't know, since the Reagan administration.
Yeah. So it may not be a sellout, okay, but there's so many bowl games, and they're not really. It's not the money makers they used to be. It's not made for TV, entertainment like it used to be. It is and then you go to them and part of your players aren't even there. Okay. And it's really one of the exciting things is we get to see players that have been on the bench all year, maybe get to play some. Like, I'm looking forward to the bowl game because Satanga's probably going to get in the game more. Some of the guys that have redshirted, they saved the bowl game for them so they can play them more in the bowl game. And it gives the coaches some extra practice, right? So, yeah, I say it's pretty much done.
Yeah, because you got to think about this. If KJ hadn't came back and leaks in the portal, Cade Forden jams his thumb in the first quarter, who's playing quarterback?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're that's where you are.
Yeah.
You're probably bringing Landon Rogers back from wide receiver to play, take some quarterback reps, just so you have somebody there that can do it. Do you feel good about beating a team with a wide receiver playing a quarterback?
Yeah. I agree.
But Travis, there's got to be something for the kids, like what can we do to remedy the situation?
Well, Clint, I have a plan.
Oh, really?
I have a plan.
Yeah, I think you've told me this, and I'm interested to hear it again.
I have a plan to fix it all. Okay. My plan is this. Keep the playoffs. In fact, expand the playoffs. Go to 16 teams if you want to. Okay. Don't do any bowl games. Get rid of the bowls altogether. Right? Play, you might could play your East-West Shrine game or stuff like that.
Right, your bowls for seniors
after the playoffs, or you could do that do it toward the end of the playoffs or something like that to add some more games or whatever. Totally get rid of that. Push it out a couple months. Wait for the portal to get done. Wait for the second semester to start. And you'll have your kids coming on campus that are graduating early, your freshmen that are coming on campus. And you're going to have your transfer portal kids that transfer at semester, right? That'll be on campus then. Then, sometime after that, maybe not do it as late as you do the spring game right now, maybe do it a little sooner. Then have practices for the players. Have move your spring practice to that time. Okay. But here's where you fill the TV void, Clint. And I think this would be so fun. You know how in the NFL they have like say the Patriots and the Lions will get together.
Yeah.
And they'll for a week and they'll do they'll practice against each other, and then they play a preseason game.
Right.
It's a real game, but it's a preseason game, right? So you're going to get your backups in and everything, but it's still a real game. officials rules. There's no green jerseys. It's a real game, right? But your starter may only go out there for so many reps or whatever, what have you. Do something like that with two teams. So let teams, however you got to do it. Let's say Arkansas joins up with Colorado. Let's just say, right? So Sam Pittman and Coach Prime decide to do a home and home like that. Okay. Colorado, the first year is going to come down to Fayetteville. Okay. During that week, they're going to practice. They'll have some practice by themselves, some, and then they'll practice on U of A campus. Then they'll practice together some. So they're hitting somebody else in the spring. They're not just hitting themselves. Now, during those practices, of course, you'll have green jerseys, all that. Okay. Yeah. But then during those times, make it fun for the players. Okay. Have some dinners together where you do the like cheesy contests like you do at bowl games, a chicken wing eating contest or something. I don't know. But just some fun stuff to add to it, right?
See, I think you could even go a little bit better than that too, Travis. I mean, just to take your idea, which I think is a great idea to kind of move it. Why not do the bowl matchups? Why not keep the bowls and like have Arkansas has been matched up with Kansas. Y'all going to go do a week in Memphis.
Yeah.
You could do that.
That could be the way you match them up.
Yeah, you could do that. Like, go ahead and do it both. I mean, obviously, you got your playoff teams.
But you could do it with every school, though, right?
Yes.
And then here's the deal. And then at the end of the week, you play a real game against each other.
Exactly.
Televise it, but a real spring game. They televise spring games already. And I know they don't make money on those, but they would make money on this.
They would. And I think it would be, give them their Bass Pro swag bag, let them go shop at Belk, whatever it is that you do.
Or you could do just get companies from Arkansas putting together a swag bag for them. And then
the only problem would be, let's say I'm in the transfer portal and I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about going to Mississippi State or Arkansas. Well, Arkansas is going to Memphis and Mississippi State's going to Orlando. I'm going to Orlando.
Well, but here's the thing, Clint. I say do it on the school campuses.
Yeah.
Here's why. Here's the other reason why. The school campuses now have the ability, okay, like when the SEC network comes to televise a Razorback football game, it's not, the SEC network doesn't bring all their equipment, all their cameras and all that kind of stuff, right? They use, the U of A has all that equipment. They have students that know how to do it, and they just bring in some extra stuff, their production people, to boss those kids around, but it's those kids that are producing everything, right?
Yeah, and that's part of the reason they don't televise the game at Verizon anymore.
So you could get some, those students, I mean, you already have that on the campuses, right? You already have that on the campuses, those students that could produce the stuff. Plus, Clint, you could produce some stuff like on Hogs Plus or whatever. You could put some content on there that you could sell sponsors for and things like that leading up, during the practices. Show some of the practices, some of, you could produce some content for that whole week that people would love. I think the coaches would like it because I think it would get more done for them, because they would have, because before that other team shows up, you would have some of your regular practices, and then maybe after that game have a final week of practice so you could talk about some things you learned from that game or whatever. and then be finished with. So take the bowl system, replace it with a jazzed up spring practice. That's my idea.
No, the only place me and you disagree on, I think they need to do it at a neutral site to get the kids at some time away from campus. But you know what? Either way, I think it's better than what you have now, because I think the bowls have become pointless. And because the 4-team playoff hurt it.
Yeah.
And then now the 12-team playoff is going to completely destroy it.
Well, and the transfer portal.
And between the transfer portal and opt-outs, I mean, like, we beat Penn State last year, but that wasn't Penn State.
Yeah.
You know, in this year, if we beat Kansas, I don't know if Kansas has had many people declare this or opt out or hit the portal. I don't know. I haven't looked. But, I mean, if they beat us, are they beating Arkansas?
Yeah.
You know, we're missing a lot of guys. Now, I did have one more question for you, Travis. I know we're getting to the end of our time. What player on this team that has not announced his intention yet that could come back would you most like to see come back? That means he'd have to be draft eligible or be for the portal. Don't, be like. Because I know mine. I don't even have to think about it.
Well, I know who yours is, and he's probably mine too.
Well, you go into yours, and I've got to know.
Trey Knox.
Yeah, Trey Knox. I mean, he's just a game changer at the tight end position.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd like to see Isaiah Nichols too.
Yeah,
that's another one I'd like to see. They could come back for that COVID year. You could tell, the way like Landon Jackson and Jordan Dominic both spoke so highly of him.
Yeah,
we talked about him.
Well, and you got I think Trey, just because you've lost Keytron now.
Yeah.
The more, and you've lost Hazelwood. So the more familiar receivers you can give KJ, the better. And Knox is probably one of his favorite receivers anyway.
And you've got some young stud tight ends coming in next year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got 2 or 3 like high 4-star tight ends coming in. And
this next year is going to be a good tight end class.
Yeah.
And just to, look, we're not the recruiting experts or the portal experts or nothing like that. You can check out Hogs Sports for that or Rivals or whatever.
We have Google, and that's all we do.
But some of those guys I mentioned earlier, those guys from Texas A&M that they're looking at as transfers. There's one of the reasons they think we got a good chance of them. Like, one of them played with Landon Jackson, the other one played at Texas High in Texarkana, so they got kind of connections to Arkansas a little bit. They grew up not far from you, from Arkansas. So, we can see some, and they're pretty highly rated. And those are, I think one of them is a pass rusher.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing I liked this year was having all those pass rushers to rotate in.
No, we did. I think, your big question marks going next year is who's the number 2 linebacker, and can we fix the secondary?
Now, another person we haven't talked about real quick is a possible backup quarterback.
Oh, yeah, no. And I think it's pretty.
Kobe Criswell is in the portal. And, he didn't come because Chad Morris was bringing his son in at the time.
Didn't even really recruit him seriously.
No, never did. He offered him, but never recruited him.
Yeah, it's kind of he kind of had to offer him.
Yeah,
but I mean, he was setting it up, and KJ was kind of brought in like to he wasn't. He's going to be an afterthought behind Chandler Morris.
Well, and is he, is Criswell willing to come back home to sit for a year, behind, of course, the way KJ plays, hey, Hornsby got to start a game and play some this year because of injury.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's your sales pitch if you're Sam Pittman, but apparently Jacoby's got no other visits scheduled.
yeah.
Like his crystal ball is 100% Arkansas, that he just wants to come home.
Yeah.
And I get it. I lived in North Carolina for a while. Arkansas is better, y'all.
Well, and they say, I've just heard nothing. I don't know the kid, but I've heard just really good things about him. He's just a real solid kid, too. And Malachi, look, I was getting a little worried about Malachi Singleton, but he confirmed that he's 100% Arkansas. He was going down to visit Gus a lot at UCF. And I was getting worried that he was, because he's a Gus quarterback. And so hopefully he's gonna end up sticking with his commitment then.
Dude, that's a talented quarterback room right there.
Yeah. You feel a lot better about that one for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I feel better about KJ, Jacoby, and Malachi.
And what's the kid's name that hurt his towards
Renfro. Cade Renfro?
Renfro, yeah. So you still got him.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't a slouch.
No. I mean, he's a serviceable backup. So, anyway. Well, man, Clint, good one as always. Lots of stuff to talk about.
Like I said, this podcast was easy because this is what we'd be talking about anyway.
That's right. That's right. We and that's the premise of this podcast. We're two best friends just talking sports, talking life, talking whatever. And we appreciate y'all listening to us and watching us, and we'd love for you to like and share and comment and all those good things. What do you think about my bow replacement? What do you think about my bow replacement?
Which version do you like better, mine or Travis's?
Yeah. The difference in Clint's is he wants it to be neutral site and do it kind of like a bowl system where they travel. I'm saying do it just a home and home game type of thing. But what do you think? Of course, then, I mean, they got smarter people that can take it, an idea, and tweak it. But I need to know who I need to know who to contact and let them know about this great idea, because it's going to change the world.
Just the entire thing.
Yeah.
Then it's been the other way.
That's right.
And it get weird.
Well, Clint, man, Christmas is getting closer. Watch your Hallmark movies. Have a good cry.
Yeah. I finished Love Actually the other day again.
Love Actually, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Man, I watched a good movie the other night. Vengeance. Have you watched it?
I have not.
You know who you were an Office fan, right?
Yeah.
BJ Novak.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. It's got him and Ashton Kutcher in it. I've seen it. It's on Peacock, isn't it?
I watched it on Amazon. I rented it on there.
Okay.
But it's really really an interesting movie. It's a neat premise. It's BJ Novak's he's a writer and a wannabe kind of podcaster guy from New York, I think. And he's got this girl that he's seen a few times or whatever, nothing serious, but she's from Texas, and she ends up dying of a drug overdose. And so her brother calls up, and apparently she'd been telling her family that they were like an item, that was her boyfriend and stuff. And so through some circumstances, he ends up down there at the funeral. And then her family thinks that it's all a conspiracy, that she was killed. And so he decides to do like a true crime kind of podcast, builds one and So he stayed there in interviews. Anyway, it's an interesting movie. It's got a pretty interesting ending to it. I'll just put it that way. But it's a good movie. So if you get a chance to watch, it's one of those that I'd never really heard about, and just kind of going through Amazon and whatnot and said, that looks interesting. So anyway, y'all, thank y'all so much for listening, watching. 92,
like, share, subscribe.
92 podcasts for us. This is
8 away from 100.
That's right. We're getting there. We're getting there. Thank y'all. Have a great week. God bless you.
Bye.
Y'all.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Oh, I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your